school!
Extra time has started in a crazy football game between high schoolers from Japan and what looks like Germany. Japan gets a free kick right outside the box, and the team's best player, Aoyama, scores with it. Everything is going well. The crowd is going crazy, and the Japanese players are jumping up and down to celebrate. But Aoyama dodges each one. You see, Aoyama may seem like a very skilled player, but he is actually very afraid of germs. A stickler for cleanliness. He wants everything around him to be clean. By clean, I mean not even a speck of dust around him. Aoyama's a regular student at Fujimi High School when he is not on one of the national teams. He is also on the football team at that school, and he is still afraid of germs like he was before. Aoyama will clean anything you can think of, whether it's a classroom seat, a blackboard, a window, or a toilet seat. Aoyama is well liked at school because he is on the national team, and every time he goes to practice, a lot of girls follow him. Unlike most players, Aoyama doesn't go straight to practice. Instead, he starts his practice by washing his hands for 20 minutes, and then he joins the rest of his team for practice. While everyone on the team is pretty chill and pretty much worships Aoyama for choosing their school, his teammate Kaoru Zaizen is not so welcoming of the guy. He thinks it's pretty clear that having a player spend 20 minutes before the game cleaning the ball won't help much. Before we start, please help us get this channel off the ground and growing. Even though Aoyama's coach, Miwa, is pretty sure of his skills, Kaoru thinks that having Aoyama on the team hurts them. To be honest, he's right. Aoyama doesn't try to make tackles, he doesn't get physical, and his game is missing every good thing about it. When Kaoru goes back to the club room after practice, she finds a strange girl trying to get in. When she sees him, she runs away quickly. Then Aoyama looks into the clubhouse to see if Aoyama's there. He stayed after practice to clean each ball thoroughly so that they would be clean the next day, and he wouldn't be bothered by the lack of cleanliness. Who wouldn't be weirded out if you were Kaoru? The next day, the students from Aoyama-kun High School come to Fujimi High School to play a friendly game. The captain of their team, Takechi, is an extremely passionate footballer and not to mention a really weird fan of Aoyama. Like, really strange. He has tried and still tries to persuade Aoyama to go to his school instead, but Aoyama turns him down because he thinks his current school is special. Takeshi tries to show off his abs, probably hoping to get Aoyama's attention. However, Aoyama doesn't like men or women. He just likes things to be clean. Takechi has been turned down more than once, so he decides to prove Aoyama wrong by beating the LAN team he is now on. The match was getting heated up at last. Fujimi School is already behind by 1 goal in the first few minutes. Takechi scores it and obviously flexes his abs. But once Aoyama gets the ball, the whole scenario changes within seconds. He scores 2 goals without being touched by the other team, which is a skill that Messi and Ronaldo can only dream of having. Aoyama has skill, can avoid getting hit, and can make a good shot. Fujimi School is 2 goals ahead at halftime. In the second half, the Aoyama-kun High School team changed their strategy. Since Aoyama was the only good player, all they had to do was stop him from getting the ball. Their plan works, which is a big surprise, and Takechi scores another goal. Even though half of the other team's attention is on Aoyama, the rest of Fujimi's team is still unable to score. Even though Kaoru calls Aoyama the team's lackey, he can't even score when the goal is right in front of him. Even worse, it starts to rain, making the ground muddy and dirty. Aoyama can't stand this, and he can't even move. Takechi and his team had the upper hand, but now Aoyama-kun High School is in the lead by a score of 32. Kaoru goes to check on Aoyama to see if he's hurt, but the boy doesn't want to get his clean, shiny clothes dirty. Now that we're in the last 5 minutes of the game, if they don't do something, the game is over. Surprisingly, and unlike his character, Aoyama doesn't mind how dirty it is around him and goes after the ball with all his might. This is because he hates losing more than he hates germs. In the end, the score is 62. They end up scoring 4 goals in the last 5 minutes. This looks more like bad defense than Aoyama's skills, but a win is a win. So much drama happens in the last 5 minutes, but Aoyama still avoids everyone who wants to celebrate with him at the end. If everyone had been as careful as this during the pandemic, we might not have had to deal with the whole 2020 COVID mess. Mocha God, an old friend of Aoyama's who has a lot of confidence issues, was the girl who tried to break into the football team's locker room by picking the locks. She thinks that Aoyama wouldn't remember her because she was a nobody and he was such a big deal at school. She can't seem to forget though, the day they met and how it changed her life. Like always, when the boys leave, Aoyama starts to clean the changing room. This guy can't get enough of keeping things neat and tidy. But this time, Mocha is watching him. When the boys get home from practice, the room is always clean, and all of their clothes are washed and folded. Aoyama would rather die than touch someone else's clothes, so he definitely didn't do this. The boys decide to ignore the situation, but it happens not once, not twice, but 7 times throughout the week. Since Aoyama's the only one who cares so much about cleanliness, and since he says he didn't do it, the guys decide that it must have been a fairy. Yes, these guys are pretty smart for high schoolers. It turned out that Mako had been cleaning the room and doing all of Aoyama's chores so that he could focus on the game. This was kind of weird, but also sweet. No, it's just strange. When they find her, they don't feel embarrassed or like they're invading her privacy. Instead, they thank her and ask her to help them. Something is wrong with these children. Mako also finds out that Aoyama hasn't forgotten about her, which makes her very happy and determined to do whatever she can to help the team. One day, when Aoyama isn't around, Jin Tsukamoto, the class nerd and one of Aoyama's teammates, smells Aoyama's towels. He can't even describe how good the smell is. Like the rebellious teenager he is, he quickly posts the details on his Twitter. The news spreads like wildfire through the school. And if the girls and boys who are Aoyama fans weren't mad before, they are now. Students from all over the school, both fans and haters, and people who just want to watch are all at the next practice game. Even with a murder bat on her back, Mako can't stop the crowd from jumping into the field to grab Aoyama and his towels. Crew gets angry and tells everyone to get off the field so they can play. His family is pretty wealthy, so no one wants to bother him because he could get them kicked out of school. Later that night, Crew is alone in the club's changing room and wonders what's so special about the towels. He cringes at the idea that all of his teammates have smelled Aoyama's towel without him knowing. Then, a strong wind comes in, and Aoyama's towel almost falls out of his locker. But Crew stops it from hitting the ground. He sneaks a sniff because he is curious. The wind changes, his eyes get warmer, and life starts to look a little bit better. Like the ads for a perfume, Aoyama's towel makes Crew think of his mother, his childhood, and the good old days. When Aoyama walks in to clean the room, he sees one of his teammates in the strangest situation ever. He doesn't care about any of it. And when Crew tries to explain, he just tells the boy to burn the towel. Takata Academy High School is the next game, and it is a very important one. The first game they played in the real league they were in. This was everything, and there was no way they could lose. Unfortunately for them, the other school also wanted to win pretty badly, and not everyone likes to play by the rules. They come up with a plan when they find out that the main player of their opponents is a huge germaphobe. As expected, on the day of the match, Aoyama's cleaning every nook and cranny, every utensil, every bottle, and every ball in the school. Suddenly, a girl comes up to him and asks for his help cleaning up some more stuff. Aoyama agrees. Kana turns out to be dating the captain of the other team, who then locks him in the dirty locker room of the other team. Outside, the game starts, and Aoyama can't play for the Fujimi school team, so they have to start without him. And yeah, just like you guys said, the team is terrible without him and is already down 20 after the first half. Back in the locker room, Aoyama tries to leave without touching Kana, but she is blocking the only way out. On top of that, she starts to take off her clothes so that if anyone came by, it would look like she was attacked. She touches Aoyama on the shoulder, but instead of the reaction she was expecting, the guy falls to the ground and can't move. It was even better than what she said was bad. When there is only 30 minutes left in the game, Mako walks into the room carrying her murder bat. It seemed like she had looked in every room in the school to find them. I don't know what love is if that's not it. After being saved, it took Aoyama 15 minutes to get back on the field, where he scored 4 goals and helped Crew score 1. The game ends with a score of 52, and Fujimi School wins with ease. Aoyama not only won the match by himself, but he also got to the game 15 minutes late because, even though he was rescued, he stayed behind to clean the dirty locker room he was locked in. What a fellow. Even though Aoyama is afraid of germs and very clean, no one at his school cares because he is well known and everyone knows about his situation. But there is another student who is like him, but not as well known, and who is afraid of germs. He is called Narita. Being afraid of germs limits both of their lives in a lot of ways, and they both handle the situation in different ways. While Narita likes to stay out of trouble and keep to himself, not telling anyone what's going on, Aoyama's pretty open about it. But I don't think that's his choice since almost every guy, girl, and even teacher follows him around like a crazy person. That's it for this part.